Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Nexus Commentaries. I'm your host tonight, Majesty, and joining me is none other than the old man himself, Patience.
Hello.
um, so tonight we have for you NGS Div B West sOaK every lane versus Roll1Esports, and I have here the coin flip information for all of you. sOaK every lane won the coin flip. They opted for first hero pick. The map bans were Roll1 banned out Ultrac Pass, which if you've been tuning in all week, you know that they've banned that out every single time. sOaK every lane banned out Dragonshire, which is notorious for Roll1. They love that map. Roll1 then banned out Infernal Shrines, which I'm very happy with because I think the map is very one-dimensional. And sOaK every lane banned out Braxis, the notorious map that not a whole lot of people like. And of course, Roll1 ended up with map pick, since sOaK every lane opted for first pick, and we're going into Battlefield of Eternity for Game 1 of this series between the two teams. So Patience, what do you know about Battlefield of Eternity?
Well, you have to win the objective to get the push going. So some teams opt to get the objective with the burn, or if not, then you defend and then win the team fight and then go slowly against that. So we see what they draft around that and what strategy they will go for.
Do you prefer the strategy of hard race, or do you prefer the strategy of like defense?
I'm a fan of racing, but we'll see what this team's like.
Yeah, I mean we've seen both before in the past. Everyone's played kind of both styles. The four defenders, one race. We've even seen 5 defenders wipe the enemy team and then race comps. We've seen things that ran like Abathur to where you're getting sOaK. I've seen TLV on this map. This map, while it seems on paper to be mostly played one way, kind of like Infernal Shrines, it does have a lot of more flexibility in its playstyle in the end.
There are a lot of chokes around the objectives too, so we'll have to see what they draft around and if they could make use of the chokes and then see what they can do with it.
Yeah, that's why this map is one of the few that you still see like Diablo picked up for a lot, or why Arthas gets a lot of more value here because you have those choke points, and because of that, it's harder to engage. And on top of the fact that you're going to draft auto attack.
And also, I think you're a fan of Blaze on this map too, aren't you?
Yes, Blaze. I love Blaze on BOE. The choke points are really good for a stun. You can, if you get the talent that increases the oil spill size, you can actually fill up the entire choke point with oil, making it nearly impossible for them to engage or disengage out from underneath that immortal. So, I think Blaze is good here. I think this map has a lot of picks. Between the Artanis buffs that we just saw recently this week, I imagine we're going to see them. Extra health, extra shielding, those are great things for Artanis. He always loves those 2 buffs. On top of the fact that he now has an infinitely stacking auto attack quest at 1 that he can pick up, I think that'd be very good. The other option, of course, is he still has Amateur Opponent, which is notoriously good for level 1 race. It kind of falls off a little bit later on, but at level 1, it's still very good for racing.
Yeah, I don't think sOaK every lane has played on Battlefield Eternity yet, but it looks like Roll1 has played it twice.
How have they done on it?
Roll1 has won 50-50, so won 1 and lost 1. And it looks like they did go for things like Artanis before, and Rhaegar, and Raider. I think that was the race comp.
Mm-hmm.
And the other time that they have gone with like Kel'Thas, Lunara, with an ETC tank. And maybe the other team had the burn because they went against the team with Artanis and Li Ming for the race.
So, I guess now that everyone's in lobby, we can reveal that yes, Wipeout is playing, but on top of that, we actually also have Bihamud, BMM, also subbing in for sOaK every lane. They are the 2 subs for that team. So we have 4 out of 6 members for Yana back tonight. We are ready. Both teams have said they're ready. So we're about to enter into draft. If you had to guess, what are going to be some of the bans coming out from these teams for this map?
Yeah, let's find out. It looks like Roll1 is in favor of banning things like Zul, Johanna, Greymane.
Good,
Actually, they
good
did.
picks all around.
Yep, and Hanzo and Diablo too. Those are their history of bans on this map. We'll see what they ban tonight because there might be some target bans against the sOaK every lane.
Yeah, we do know that the B Med is notorious for the amount of target bans he pulls out. Very well known for his Samuro. His Gazlo comes out. He plays a lot of more unique heroes that you don't see, but he plays them at such a level that you're kind of forced to target ban them out sometimes. There, of course, is the ban against Roll1. Very common. You kind of feel like you almost have to ban it sometimes because Rock Your World, if he gets it, he's gonna rock out with that cow.
Yeah, we've seen that many times, so that's a very valid ban.
Yes. By no means are we questioning that ban. This ban could be targeted at BMed. It could be targeted. It is. It's going to be targeted at BMed because of Samuro, who's also good on this map. He's good at being able to flank around behind the Immortals, jump on your back line. He's also solid race. He lost a little bit of his race power with the nerf to his illusions not too long ago. Actually, that might have been like 2 months ago. Maybe it's been a while. But with the duration decrease, and then they only get the duration back when they're auto-attacking heroes, they're not strong. He's not as strong PvE as he once was, but he's still decent. And of course, the other ban coming out from sOaK every lane is going to be Sonya. A little bit more of a target ban there, maybe hinting at what they're going to be going into the offlane with, if they're targeting that out.
I won't be surprised if this is gonna be another Bimeduho ban.
Would not surprise me at all. Oh, Wipeout has played every game. He's not a sub. That's my apologies. And of course, the first Mega Muffin, Wipeout's #1 fan. He already has started his comment session. There's a Gazlo ban, once again targeting out. Roll1Esports is about to get their world rocked by Wipeout. Always a fan of the Mega Muffin, fandom of Wipeout. Fan of a fan. Alright, so what's first pick potential here, do you think?
I think they might go for Johanna. Yep, there you go.
Johanna's solid pickup here. You know they're going to be picking up at least one auto attacker for the objective. And they actually go ahead and pick up Rhaegar Artanis here. Rhaegar, of course, is a very strong pick right now due to the Bloodlust buffs that recently come out. If you can pair him with auto attackers, which is what this map wants anyways, it can be a very devastating team fight. We also see the Artanis picked up. Very strong pick there as well. As we were talking about before we even entered draft. There's the Ming, and what else are we going to get here? Thrall. So we're going to see Thrall off lane and Ming picked up here for sOaK every lane. Ming, very good harass, very good in teamfight. She's one of the more all-around heroes on this map. She really does like fighting around this objective compared to other maps. On top of the fact that she's actually solid race, she can go Q build, which lets her do full race, or she could do just one of her other 2 builds, Orbs or Calamity, and still have solid race, but be able to be more teamfight oriented in that regard. Thrall, of course, picked up just because he's all around solid. There's an Ana ban coming out of Roll1. Of course, that could hint towards that they might be leaning towards the Ancestral more. It could be looking at maybe they are going for Bloodlust and they want to guarantee that they're getting that lifesteal value. But it's also just a solid healer. You know, Li Ming plus Nano is a devastating force to be reckoned with. And the other ban out here from sOaK every lanes is going to be none other than Deathwing. Making sure that Roll1 doesn't get that late Deathwing pickup when there's no counters available.
I'm really liking the Artanis pick along with the Rhaegar because it also denies an area blind against the Bloodlust if they choose to go with that.
There's going to be Greymane and a new Barak looking kind of divey. Sorry.
I think it's calling for bloodlust.
I agree. I agree. Greymane, Artanis, Rhaegar, even a Nubrek's not bad once he gets that level 13 Acid Drench Mandibles. And then Raynor and sToeK picked up here by sOaK every lane. Alright, anyways, I'm sorry, you're being caught up in chat. People posting a lot of fun things. Raynor and sToeK picked up here by sOaK every lane. Solid draft all around. Solid team fight, solid race potential for sOaK every lane. sToeK good at zoning, Johanna good at zoning. And then the Vala picked out here from Roll1. This is looking like quite the Bloodlust comp coming out of Roll1. Basically, 4 auto attackers and a Nubrek here. Who, looking at the enemy team, probably going to go Cocoon. Cocoon like Joe or Thrall out of these fights, or sToeK even. And then just go for it.
Oh, most definitely. It's once we see a dive with a Nubrek and Greymane, everybody will be just falling together with the Bloodlust.
Crosby asking in chat, no first pick Deckard, who taught these kids how to draft? And I don't know. But sOaK every lane going into game 1 against Roll1Esports. On to Battlefield of Eternity. They have BMed on Thrall, Strogus on sToeK, DMN13 on the Raynor, Tornado on the Li Ming, and Wipeout himself playing Johanna.
And on the side of Roll1Esports, Rock Your World on Anubrek, Whenever on Rhaegar, Zed on Vala, Po on Greymane, and Big Beard on, I think, was it Artanis? Yep.
Yeah, the only hero left.
I'm an old man.
Right, and we do see Exterminator Raynor picked up here. It's going to be able to really amplify his race potential. It was hugely buffed. It hasn't been nerfed back down. It's going to be solid. Professor Popo, in regards to them picking sToeK, said, and with patience co-casting, it's an insult to your elders. Alright.
We see the even 1-4 split on both teams.
Very classic. It is going to be the amateur opponents out of Artanis. Not going to go for that infinite scaling. He's going to go more for that early race, which makes sense because after level 7, the Q-Build Vala, which she is stacked on right now, is one of the top 3 racers in the game. They also have Greymane, who's also up there, and then they just like the Hanzo really of the big 3 on this map. Nubrek's going to go into W build with the shields, which I kind of like. There is a lot of spell. There is a Raynor, but you're not going to really be able to build a Nubrek around a Raynor that much. But he is going to be able to be a little bit tankier against the Thrall and the Ming potentially. As he's already down to half health, he's going to have to dig out, but there's the sToeK Silence coming out as well. Just a little bit too late to keep him from doing that. Rock's going to need some healing here. Rhaegar, not necessarily the best out-of-fight healing available, but is going to be solid in combat for sure. Artanis Thrall just sitting up here in the top lane. HEC sprayed being dropped and ripped up there. sOaK every lane is kind of starting to pull ahead here in the bot lane as they after they got the Nubrek to back there. They're not, I mean, they're about even on sOaK right now. Basically, the difference was just who's getting minions first here. BMed throwing out the taunt and spray in the top lane as they're just freezing that lane. Big Beard's going to head up and try to get that top siege camp. We'll have to keep an eye on that to see if anyone invades. As it looks like sOaK every lane's looking at potentially rotating either up there or somewhere else. Rock's keeping an eye out for Artanis. As now the Thrall's going to go ahead and engage in the top lane, but Artan got one and now he's done. We saw that before. That's kind of his style. Drop one minion, go back to lane, sOaK it back up, and then go back in and try to finish the camp out during the next wave. Keep the enemy team from really hard committing to fighting him just yet. Make him pick to also get the sOaK here. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, both teams still just gotta go back and forth. You know, do you feel like any team really starting to pull an advantage?
It looks like Li Ming is getting a lot of value with the orbs so far. Have been landing it at least on one person or potentially 2 sometimes, which is getting Roll1Esports quite low to back off. But they haven't been losing XP yet much, and then they're just keeping up. So we'll see how it goes at the first objective, which should be coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, first objective on BOE is always announced at 2:30. That makes like 2:15 the ideal time to kind of rotate towards your bruiser camp, so maybe a little bit earlier or later depending on your personal preferences. Both teams, of course, on their bruiser camp now. Well, the first objective is being announced. They should both be able to finish it up. Just kind of go ahead and cap it. sOaK LaNe's going to pick it up just a hair faster here. But Artane's going to rotate back up now. He's going to look to try to finish this off here. Right as the objective is going to be coming up. It's going to be kind of close. He might be rotating again a little bit late, but the double camp pressure coming out there. Thrall's going to go ahead and sniff it out now, and Artane's going to have to play around that. Are they going to battle for this, or do we need to watch the 4v4 potential battle here onto sOaK LaNe's Immortal? Poe's kind of position there, but Ming's behind him, so they're going to go ahead and split back off. Here comes the Thrall. Artane does go ahead and get the camp in the top lane. Zad's getting a little low there on the Bulla as the Nubrek's going to dive forward and out. Now Artane's rotating again. They might look to re-engage here on the side of Roll1. It's the first objective. It right now hasn't really taken much damage.
I'm surprised Roll1Esports decided to defend instead of going for the race right after that. Oh, actually, no, they were going for the race.
Yeah.
The sOaK lane was defending, that's right.
They also have double camps, so defending them wouldn't be the worst thing. They do have Vola there defending the Bruiser camp right now. Thrall's in the top lane, but they're able to race well, also keeping one defending. That's the power of having so many auto attackers on a map like this. They are ahead. They're actually behind in the race right now a little bit, by about 2,000 HP. Now it's going to be up to Roll1 to decide what they're going to do here. Exterminator Raynor is leading the way here for sOaK LaNe on this objective. Here going to be the dive forward there on the Anubarak and stop the sOaK silence as they're diving in onto the Johanna. It's Artane getting kind of low right now. They need to watch out for the stun coming out from the objective as Johanna is the first to fall here. The first blood for the entire game, in fact, as Poe's going to try to dance out there on the Grey Man. Now Niva's being chased there by the Ming, but it's going to be able to dodge the orb in time. The objective is going to go over to sOaK LaNe. sOaK LaNe picked it up. Just barely. There's barely any shielding on that, so it's going to go quickly into the melee form. Roll1's going to be able to stand a solid defense on this. I actually wouldn't mind seeing a split push potentially coming out of sOaK LaNe. It looks like they're going to go ahead and opt to try to push with the objective a little bit, but we're going to have to see how much value they get into all this auto attack damage coming out of Roll1.
I think that's really interesting that it was mostly 4v5. The sOaK lane was outnumbered. Bimaduho was soaking top lane most of that objective, but Wipeout was probably getting a lot of value with that blind that they were able to keep up with the damage that was coming in with the mitigation.
So they do end up picking up the wall and a little bit of the fort there on the side of sOaK lane. As bot lane, nothing really happened down here. Both teams just kind of soaked. Artane went up, and then he's going to go back down. Meanwhile, all of sOaK lane's coming down while Thrall went head back. And it looks like Thrall's going to go ahead and head up to the top lane now. As the siege camp in the bot lane is going to go over to sOaK lane here in a second. Roll1 is rotating down. Maybe they could catch someone out afterwards, but they did sniff out Artane seeing it. There's the backward swap tried out to Johanna, but it did miss as Li Ming throws an orb in the queue there at the well there, but doesn't stick around for it. As now Johanna is going to dive into the enemy team here, looking for some value. Niva's there on the side with the Rhaegar, going to go ahead and dive in, and Nubrek's getting a little low as well. He needs to be careful as he gets right-clicked. He's kind of squishy against auto attacks. He can be very tanky against abilities though, and it's kind of a push-pull between balancing those two out. As there's a 3-man blind out of Johanna, they're knocking him back. Roll1 just looks like they're having a hard time getting a grip on the map right now, and like really be able to get a solid engage that they want. It looks like they might have to wait till 10, but their 10s will be strong there with that bloodlust and all of this auto attack damage. As Ming continues to poke out the bottom well here, and now it's gone. That's one less well that Roll1 have on the map for this.
Yeah, it looks like they do. sOaK lane is doing a very good job focusing on Nubrek down whenever he steps up a little bit, which forces Rockjawar to kind of back away from the team fight or from engages.
Because of how well they've been able to time this out, both teams able to pick up their bruiser camps once again at the start of the objective. As Artane was looking for the race, tries the backward swap once again, misses it. There's the sOaK silence, and it's going to be interrupted once again. The Nubrak is going to barrel forward, but is unable to hit two, but no follow-up because of the Immortal zoning right now. It's a 5v5 for both these teams, but they're around sOaK's Immortal, and that's going to make it very hard for Roll1 to engage. They almost kind of want to pull back a little bit from this fight as level 10s are now picked up by sOaK, and there's going to be a big blessed shield come out and sOaK for silence, and Greyman's going to be the first to fall. Now we can kind of take a look at these ults picked up. We foresaw the Blessed Shield, the Disintegrate Beam came out. We also have Raynor's Rider that's going to let his race be amplified even more here, as well as the threat to a eVeRy. Earthquake and Flailing Swipe are the other two ult picks up. And now we have 10s picked up here coming out from Roll1. And of course, we have yet to see the Rhaegars, but we're expecting the Bloodlust to come out with how heavy in the auto attacks they went. We're almost approaching halftime now, and we have Vola and Greymane kind of catching back up here with Roll1. We do have Cocoon, which has already been used. We have Bullet. We now have Bloodlust picked up, as well as Rain of Vengeance. The only thing we're waiting on is for our Tannis' ult. I imagine it's going to be blind, just to make it a little bit easier to engage. If they can blind out the Raynor and the Thrall, then there's a eVeRy can start to go in and really start to be a tank, but it's actually going to be the Purifier Beam coming out from them. And now both teams are positioning around Roll1's Immortal, and there's the Bloodlust, and followed up by the Blessed Shield, unfortunately. Rain of Vengeance coming out, and they're trying to burn this Johanna. Meanwhile, sOaK has Purifier Beam on him, which is going to interrupt, make him force out of silence a little bit earlier. The Earthquake's not quite going to be enough. There's the bullet onto Raynor. And even though Roll1's at about half health, they are still able to zone out a little bit here from this Immortal. They're sending 3 up to try to race it, but it's going to be nearly impossible. Though Raynor's going to get stunned by the Immortal, and it was almost enough to kill him, even though it's just Rhaegar here and a eVeRy. Rhaegar down to 308 health there was the minimum that I saw. But another Immortal picked up for sOaK. This one's also going to head towards the top lane. And once again, we're going to see both teams send 4 up there for the defense/push.
I was expecting Roll1Esports to get a little bit more value out of that Bloodlust because the sOaK swipe was down. They did get the Johanna pick off, but ended up losing the objective.
It would have been interesting just to see if they could have done a 3/4 to half race against sOaK by popping the Bloodlust on the Immortal. But that's one of those things that's like, it's going to be really tight, so you just kind of maybe go for the safe play of trying to play defense around your Immortal first. Which is what they did, and it didn't quite pan out this time. They are popping the shields now on the Immortal, so you can go into that melee form with the shorter auto attacks. It's going to let them be able to defend it a lot easier. Wipeout, of course, is going to eat a lot of minus armor, but he does have the Reinforce at level 1, which is going to let him be able to tank those tower shots, even with the minus armor, a lot better.
Yep, I mean, that is definitely the right pick against all the auto attack damage from the other team, and I'm pretty sure he's going to pick the matching.
So Cocoon came out, but so is the Disintegrator Beam. Ball is going to go down instantly. eVeRy's in a lot of trouble here, but Rodneva on that Rhaegar is in the middle of the enemy team, is looking at it, and Purified Beam is going to pick up Ming, but it is going to cost Rhaegar's life in the end. Greymane disengaged as well in that fight. eVeRy did end up getting out at the end. But now you have the root combo coming out from sOaK, and that could be a big threat that could speak a lot of issues here for some of the members on Roll1. Actually, going to see more here out of Johanna. I've been seeing Roar more and more often, but was it buffed at some point recently?
Not that I know of, but
yeah,
maybe
I always remember it being considered the mathematically damage talent at that level, and you just always picked Hammer Spin because it was the best. And if you're feeling lazy, the Burning Roar. So it seems interesting that I'm starting to see Roar more. Maybe I need to investigate that once again. As we see Roll1 picking up their Bruiser camp here. sOaK every lane's heading towards their now. This is actually going to give Roll1 an opportunity here to potentially defend the siege camp at least out of sOaK every lane before heading toward this Immortal. They should try to position for burn once again because they do have that post level 7 Bala now with the full Q build coming out. We see it's actually going to be burning Rage out of a eVeRy. He's not going to try to get in on this auto attack action here, as Roll1's going to go ahead and start in on the race. They're basically already a quarter of the way through the Immortal, and this just shows the power of what their race can do, and we're already going to be entering halftime here in just a second. If they're able to keep on this, Purifier Beam is going to go out onto Johanna. Seems like a weird choice, but so is Bullet. Johanna's sitting at about 40 health, and we are going to halftime now. And it just shows the power of Roll1's race. That barely took them any time. Now they do have to push all the way across the map, and this is going to let sOaK get in a little bit of a race here. But they're able to sit in underneath their objective here on the side of Roll1 and try to use that for the teamfight advantage. There's going to go a swap there, but it's going to miss onto the Ming, as both teams are basically playing neutral here, if we can just borrow from the Smash community a little bit, around this objective and poking it down.
There's a bruiser camp is pushing at the bottom, so Roll1Esports have to watch out for that. But
Here
they're
comes the
engaging right
Bloodlust,
now.
the swap there onto the throw, but the big sOaK swipe is going to keep them stunned just a tiny bit. There's the silence now as well, and they're unable to secure a kill as Bloodlust is going to go ahead and timeout. Volo was on the Raynor that whole time. While he's low, they have yet to secure a kill. Wipeout is getting low. He's down to 150 health. There's the dive forward there from the eVeRy, but it's the Artanis, or the Greymane, that's going to be the first to fall. My bad. Now it's going to be a double kill out of Artanis. We knew his name was going to be needed to call here in a second. There goes a eVeRy as well, but the resets on up Ming are going to secure the Artanis kill. Volo and Rhaegar now trying to run away. Even though Ming is low at mana, she's still going to be a viable threat right now. She is the full Calamity build, so she is designed for these objective fights. The problem they're getting right now on the side of Roll1 is that they're trying to cocoon like the Johanna out of these fights so they can dive in better. But the Ming Disintegrate is just burning it away too fast.
Yeah, they were really close to getting some kills, but it didn't come fast enough, even though it led to 2 kills by Artanis in the end. But LaNe was just getting resets one after the other, which basically pitted the team fight in the favor of sOaK every lane.
I almost feel like they need to change their cocoon target to just cocoon Ming. That's the only, like, when you're a eVeRy versus Ming, that's basically the only thing you can do if she goes Disintegrate, is you have to cocoon the Ming out of fights, which will just burn the cocoon with Disintegrate because of how it works. There's going to be a Blessed Shield there onto eVeRy. He's just going to get deleted with the sOaK combo as well. Now they don't have a tank here on the side of Roll1. They are also down level 16 talents. Artan's in the top lane. He's backing now to try to join this defense. As he now joins them. The wall's already down in the bot lane, but the shield is gone on the Immortal. It's going to have to walk forward now, which is going to help the Greymane and Volo be able to do that damage just a little bit safer with the changes to tower aggro. This defense may still be possible when before it wasn't. But these teams need to look for something as the keep is about to fall, and it will go ahead and go down. About a quarter health left here on the Immortal. They're going to shred through that really fast. Now it's up to sOaK every lane to determine if they're going to try to look for a pick-off and maybe go for an end. But instead, they're going to go ahead and back out, looking for potential camps. The swap from Artan unfortunately missed for the Roll1.
They got a lot of value out of that objective because the bruiser camp got one of the towers, and of course they got a pickup with their eVeRy. Oh, they're going in again right
Johanna's
now.
going to go ahead and eat the bullet there as Ming was the cocoon target, and Wipeout's going to go ahead and fall down into the backline. Bloodlust there. Thrall's Earthquake trying to zone them out, and the Orsa Ming coming down that choke point are doing quite a bit. Poe's going to have to disengage there on the Greymane, but eVeRy's in there now. They go ahead and pick up 2 more kills now. But can they do more? 400 health left on the eVeRy because he's also disengaging. Well, all of Roll1 is low. Unfortunately, sOaK every lane wasn't able to get any kills this time. But they need to be careful because the Ming can still pop off right now. But they're going to go ahead and be able to get the camp. Big Beard now joins the fray. eVeRy went ahead and back during all of that. The next objective we haven't had announced yet, but both teams could look to pick up an early bruiser camp potentially, or run to the top lane here on the side of Roll1. Or even sOaK every lane and try to go for that, but it looks like Roll1's going to look to try to get some siege damage here, but the Disintegrate Beam's going to disengage the Greymane out of this fight. Volo's running forward for that Globe is going to go ahead and disengage now as well. The bullet from Greymane's going to hit no one. Now eVeRy and Rhaegar there, we're working on the wave clear. Now we have the objective announced, and we're going to see Roll1 instantly going for their bruiser camp.
I'm glad that they played a little bit safe against the tower because, as you said, Ming could have gotten resets again.
Yes, they did end up with a wall, and that Roll1 is trying to catch up in siege damage a little bit while they are behind. They do have a level lead advantage now, just a hair, but the passive XP bonus that sOaK every lane has from these buildings being down could end up working in their favor. Their Big Beard's taking quite a bit of damage. He's going to end up falling here, and that's going to be the first reset onto Ming. Wipeout getting low once again. There's Cocoon onto the Raynor here as the Disintegrate Beam's going to come out and burn that down. The big silence from sOaK now. It's going to be Wipeout once again falling down, but the Ming is popping off. There's 2 kills again, and there's a third. Can she find a fourth? And the answer is no, because everyone's already dead on the side of Roll1, and sOaK every lane is going to look to end this game.
Well, I thought the Rocket Wall heard you and then did cocoon Li Ming last fight, the one before this, but then he ended up cocooning Raynor this time, which was basically just breathe right away. And now it seems like this is going to be GG.
Wipeout calling out that he's feeding this game, but as a tank, it's his job to die as far as I'm concerned. As it looks like sOaK every lane will go ahead and take game 1 of this best of 3 series. 12 goes to 9 actually say that the game was a lot closer than you might think of looking at the map. As Roll1 actually just got their first port during that objective. Thrall there, 0 deaths, so he's able to stay alive there, and he actually soaked 14,000 XP, 2k above anyone else. Also self-heal for 20k. What do you think was Roll1's biggest issue with that game? Why were they unable to kind of clutch it or get ahead at any point?
I think the cocoon targets could have been better, as you said, probably on the Liming more, and I think Wipeout was probably on point, holding onto that blind maybe as soon as that Bloodlust button was pushed. But also, I really like that sOaK went for the Flaming Swipe because that's a really good disengage tool when they're diving in. And also, I think sOaK got a lot of value onto the silence and the roots.
That's correct. Now, if you're Roll1 going into game 2 here, you just played out this one. You had the map pick, you ended up losing it. Are you going to opt for first pick to try to grab that good hero pick, or are you going to look again towards a map pick and maybe try to pick something else that might play more towards your style here going forward?
I mean, personally, I would probably go for the first pick, but they may have a map pick that they really like and have a good strategy for. I don't know Roll1Esports well enough for that, so we'll see what they do.
Let's talk a little bit more about last game. It just seemed like Roll1 just couldn't get the engage they were looking for. It looked like they were just getting zoned out. Do you think there was just too much CC on the side of sOaK for that?
I think so, and then they were all funneling into a lot of the chokes too, which really helped Ming as well for the orbs and disintegrate, and of course the blind. And Thrall played really well, as you said too. Did not die a single time, and then was doing what he could to stay alive and put the damage in.
All right, so our next map is going to be Cursed Hollow. Pretty much just a very standard map across the board. Most people consider it very favorably. And it looks like Roll1 opted for first pick. So Roll1 has a first pick this time around. Cursed Hollow was picked up by sOaK LaNe. Do you think that... What do you think that these teams might be looking for going into Cursed Hollow? What are the kind of the points of the map?
Wait, so Roll1Esports has the first pick?
Yes. And the map pick was on sOaK.
Yeah. So based on some stats that I looked at on the sOaK, it seems like they do really well in terms of gaining XP towards level 10. They're, I think by stats, about a minute ahead in terms of reaching level 10. So maybe that's why they like this map. In terms of the first pick for Roll1Esports, maybe if ETC is not banned, maybe they want to go for that one right off the bat. I don't know if you have any other information on these teams to know what they might be going for.
We know in the past, at least towards Dragonshire and such, we've seen Roll1 lean towards like Falstead as the global pickup for them. We could maybe see that Gus could work very well for them. They could still even go into a Bloodlust comp with like an auto attack or just a hybrid build, Falstead coming out from them, and then they could Gus the enemy team into them and then pop Bloodlust to make it harder to disengage out of. Other things we've seen is we've seen them go Lava Wave Ragnaros in this map, giving themselves a lot of more of that macro defense with the ability to go into tower form to Lava Wave out. I do not remember if Rex still has the bug where he can uncurse a building by going up to it during, well, it's cursed. So like if your fort's cursed, go into Molten Core, come out of Molten Core, and the building will now fire. So that unfortunately would be a bug. If Roll1's aware of that bug, that would be sad. It's not technically banned by NGS right now. I believe it is fixed, but I've not checked it since I found it. Both teams are ready, so we're about to head into Game 2 of sOaK LaNe versus Roll1Esports on Cursed Hollow. Now we have to wait for the countdown, and then of course there's the delay. And now we're going to Cursed Hollow. Alright, So Cursed Hollow, what are... I mean, it's a larger map. It's not the largest map in the game anymore. Warhead Junction takes that title. It's approximately the same size as Ultra Pass when you calibrate into the fact that you have the mud pits on Ultra Pass. So globals get a lot of value here. We maybe could see an Abathur. BMed, something we haven't discussed yet, does play TLV. And this is a large map.
Yeah.
This is a TLV map.
And he has played it once this season already. So we'll see if Roll1Esports are aware of it and kind of target ban that off the bat.
Right. Twitch chat is informing me that the Ragnaros ban was fixed. That's good. So we don't have to worry about someone accidentally bug abusing. It's going to be the Samurai ban once again coming out of Roll 1. Makes sense. Just makes sense. I'd probably ban it too. I don't know if I'd put a second target ban into BMid this early, but I agree with it being the first ban. Deathwing banned out against Roll 1. Makes sense. Roll 1 considers Crystal Hollow to be Deathwing's #1 map. At least they did at one point. I don't know if Roll 1 would run Deathwing after all of its nerfs. I do know last season they were running it a decent amount. They weren't picking it every time, but they were picking it at times, and I feel like this would be a time for them to pick it if they were in favor of it still. We're going to see the Gazlo ban out once again as well, just those target bans onto BMed going forward. And now we have the option of another ban coming out from sOaK every lane. What you looking for here? What do you think this banned? Is there like something from last game that you feel like needs banned out, or is because they lost, you don't think there's any target bans against Roll?
They did ban ETC last game, so I wonder if it's gonna be ETC again.
It's going to be the
Oh
Rhaegar,
no, it's gonna be Rhaegar.
denying Roll 1 the optional Bloodlust comp, saying no, you gotta have to play a little bit differently this game. So this is gonna have to change Roll 1's draft strategy completely from last game, and they're gonna actually first pick the Anduin this time around. Roll 1 showing a lot of emphasis onto that healer role. How, as a healer, do you like first picking healers, or do you dislike that?
I generally don't like picking healers first, because especially things like Ana, then they can draft like dive comms that will really threaten the healers and stuff. But sometimes you do have to, depending on what you're thinking about for the rest of the team.
And we see the Johanna once again for Wipeout, and we're going to see the Raynor once again as well. Could it, again, just be an Exterminator Raynor, just kind of burn through the bosses and the camps as fast as he can, as well as just giving them extra minion wave clear. We're going to see the Ming taken away this time by Roll 1, and Rock Your World is going to get his ETC. Now, of course, they have a Light Bomb Power Slide Mosh Pit combo for about 6 seconds of straight CC from basically a character and a half, a character plus a button. And with a character like Ming on their side, that could spell an easy 3-man, 3v5 team wipe if they can get something crazy going here on the side of Roll 1. It's going to have to be looked out for by sOaK.
That's definitely threatening, so it'll be very interesting to figure out how sOaK every lane is going to respond to those picks.
We're going to see
Sonya.
Yeah, the Sonya ban once again. It seems to be a target ban there towards Big Beard, the offlaner of Roll1Esports this time around. So this ban, I imagine, will be a healer ban. They could opt to ban the Ana, or they could opt for a different one, like the Decker that the chat was calling for last game.
Or even 3 Vikings if they know Bimeduho. There you
It is
go.
going to be the Vikings, which actually, now that you mentioned it again, looking back, that does make a lot of sense. Johanna Raynor would be very, very good at just sitting in a lane with 2 other members and just shoving it down. And Roll 1 did have to face TLV versus Pro in Division B West playoffs last season, and it dragged out to a 32-minute slugfest. Now we're going to see the KT and Stukov picked up here by sOaK every lane. Stukov did quite a bit of work last game. How do you feel about this Killthos pickup, though?
Well, around the objective, it is tight space, so Kyotas could get a lot of value. Roll1Esports will have to do extra work to be able to not to spread the bombs, though.
Now we're going to see Zool and Hanzo picked up here on the side of Roll 1. Zool, how do you feel about him after 2 rounds of nerfs so far?
I've seen him still get banned quite a bit. Since he's banned in almost all my games, I'm not really sure how strong he is because I don't get to see him. So we'll see how Big Beard does it with Zool in the offlane.
Now it's going to be the last pick to Haka coming out from sOaK Relay. Now that we see both drafts, is there one that you favor more than the other?
I like sOaK Lane's draft better. I'm also a fan of sTookOff over Anduin. That might be why I'm biased. But Rock Your World's ETC is really strong too. And as you mentioned already with the Light Bomb combo, that could be a team fight changer. So we'll see.
Alright, for game 2 on Cursed Hollow, sOaK Lanes is going to be playing Kael'thas with Tornado, Emed on the Dahaka, Wipeout on Johanna, Stroku's on the sTookOff, and DMN13 playing the Raynor.
Oh, and then the screen disappeared. So give me a minute.
Yeah, just hit tab. It's the easiest way.
All right, and on the side of Roll1Esports, we have Rocket World on ETC, Whenever on Anduin, Ho on Liming, Zed on Hanzo, and Big Beard on Zool.
So instead of the reinforcing Johanna, we're going to see the hold your ground this time around. A backlash there onto Zool for that percentage damage, which is going to help him potentially just kind of burst the target down. Exterminator once again for Raynor, the Mana Addict, of course, and it's going to be Tissue Regeneration out of the Dahaka.
2, 1.
It's pursued by Grace here on Anduin. How do you feel about that talent?
Actually, that one is not picked as much, so that is interesting. I've seen board strategy a lot at level 1 and renew talent at level 1, but so we'll see how that works out for whenever.
I like this talent just because it's the lazy man's talent. And I am the lazy man. There's going to be a root there onto the Raynor, but the power slide unfortunately is going to miss. But the gravity left, silence is not. But the Anduin pool is going to save the ETC in the end. And then the first living bomb is not going to spread there, barely. As Dahaka is actually going to go ahead and dig to the top lane instead of walking to it, but Zool's heading to the bot lane. ETC heading up is a little interesting. They're going to send the Anduin as well, it looks like, and it's going to be Zed on the Hanzo heading towards Siege King.
And sTookOff actually waiting for the siege camp up there, which is an interesting choice.
Looks like Kael'thas might be heading over now. No, Kael'thas is heading somewhere else. So is Raynor. Nope, Kael'thas went ahead and joined them. But now no one's in mid soaking, but there's no soak either, I guess, for sOaK Lane. sOaK Lane not soaking one lane right now, as the Zool is actually trying to set up a double soak scenario here on Cursed Hollow, which is a very hard map to do it on, as the waves are already clashing in mid lane. You have a 3-man team here up on top lane from Roll1 here.
Seems like they're putting a lot of emphasis on Bimeduho.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes just trying to pick off one target is the strategy to go with here. As Big Beard's going to go ahead and finish soaking mid, Zad there on the Hanzo went ahead and grabbed mid soak for them. As Big Beard's going to have the option to push with this siege camp here in the bot lane, as the Bruiser camp is picked up here on the side of sOaK.
Looks like Roll1Esports is going to respond to that Bruiser camp mid, so they're leaving the Bimeduho at the top. Hanzo's responding to that instead.
Hanzo did go W build, and he also picked W at 4, which is interesting. So his wave clear is going to be less, but his ability to kill a boss is greatly enhanced. We're actually going to see Moral Compass here out of the Anduin, potentially using some of those new W talents there at 13. As Rock's going to have to power slide out here. He might try to turn around. No, he's not. He's going to go ahead and play it safe. As his team's going to go ahead and clear out the Bruiser camp. The living bomb there on the tower is going to go ahead and be dodged. Only 1 minion left. sOaK did end up with a tower here. In the bot lane, Wipeout was getting very low against the Zool in the siege camp here. And now you have 3 more members of sOaK Lane showing up, and they're going to try to roll in on this Big Beard, and they are going to go ahead and kill off the Zool right before the objective is spawning. And it looks like Roll1's going to opt to then go ahead and give this, especially because they have the global here on the side of sOaK Lane, and they're going to look to maybe go pick him off, or no, they're going to pick up their Bruiser camp in exchange for this. This Wipeout grabs the enemy vision.
That is unfortunate for Roll1Esports to lose a team member right at the time of the objective. Looks like sOaK is getting a lot of value on the side of sOaK every lane.
Able to pick up that mid soak for them using the silence over clear as 3 members are just now finishing up the bruiser camp on the side of Roll1. We have level 7 picked up for sOaK every lane, and we're actually going to see Sunfire Enchantment there of Kael'thas, looking for that extra spell power, maybe looking into a potential Pyroblast Burst coming out from him, as Big Beard's once again going to go ahead and die against 4 members of sOaK every lane. Right, the objective is being announced, he will respawn in time for this, so Roll1 might have a chance. He might opt to give this one again and just try to catch up on sOaK, as they're just now getting level 7. It's actually going to be 4 build out of Ming here.
Looks like Roll1Esports is just gonna go for the mid fort, but sOaK every lane is responding again with that slow and silence.
If he had the root combo, that would have been basically a 2-man kill at least, as Ming and WaNiba are going to get to half health as anyways, as well as ETC. That's going to force some taps out of them. Right before the objective goes, B-Man is already dug down here, and Zul's sitting in the bot lane. The Tongue is going to go ahead and miss there onto the cow, as he's going to go ahead and interrupt the Johanna there. And now you have the damage dealers here in the back split, as the cow's trying to roll around here. So the back big Beard himself has shown up to this fight. He is W built, so he's going to be quite a monster in this fight. There's going to be the root of Zul there onto the Raynor. They're going to go ahead and secure that kill now. Dahako is in the mid lane meanwhile. Now the Silence is going to try to zone out here. KT's going to try to pick up the objective, but they're going to be poked out there by the Hanzo and ETC. The Kael'thas trying to zone them out once again, but they're going to have to just concede this objective. And the second tribute point going over to Roll1Esports.
Well, the LaNe was able to get the pick off. I was afraid for Roll1Esports with the sOaK silence, but they managed to play the team fight very well patiently.
One going ahead and getting basically tying up all the top towers are all left, but all the other towers for the forts are gone on this map, as both teams once again picking up their siege camp. Just grab a drink here real quick.
It looks like sOaK every lane is really in favor of B-Meduho soaking as much as possible before joining the team fight. Dahako was not with the team until pretty much the last minute. Maybe they need to change that a little bit and go 5v5 more hours sooner.
Alright, level 10's picked up here for sOaK every lane, and it is in fact going to be Pyroblast out of Kael'thas, Isolation from Dahako, Blessed Shield, Massive Shove this time around, and Hyperion. There's going to be a Gravity Lapse onto ETC, and now the Silence combo as well. They're going to do a point blank pull on him. They're trying to heal him up, as he's not going to have armor available, unfortunately, while being hit by Pyroblast. If he had a 25 armor, he probably would have lived that, but instead this point's going to go very quickly over to sOaK every lane. It looks like sOaK's going to grab the tribute points very quickly, as well as now going to try to steal away the camp from or the boss from Roll1Esports. We are going to have Mosh Pit, Light Bomb, Dragon's Arrow out of Roll1 so far. Those are the ults picked, and that's that's 3 extra stuns picked up here for Roll1. As the boss is now picked up by sOaK every lane. Dahako once again in the bot lane, so is Zul. He's going to go ahead and back now as Roll1 rolls up to the top lane with a bunch of thugs.
So LaNe and Zul have not picked their level 10s. What do you think they're waiting for?
I have no idea. It's going to be Skeletal Mages from Zul. That makes sense. Maybe he was just focusing on something else at the time. Ming, I don't know what she's waiting for. It looks like she could go with whatever ult she's more comfortable with, but maybe she's trying to see how something plays out here. And Mana Addict now finished for Kael'thas, as looks like sOaK every lane's in position here. Big Beard needs to be careful. These are the times that he normally gets picked off here, is when a bunch of members from sOaK every lane show up to that bot lane. Wipeout's going to go ahead and cap the vision once again. Hanzo Scatter he'll look for it. It is going to be the Wave of Force out of Li Ming. The vision's going to be re-picked up here for Roll1, as they're trying to look for the tribute on their side of the map to tie it up to 2 tributes each. This is going to be the first all level 10 fight that we've seen so far this game. Johanna's getting a little bit of poke, but not a whole lot. Both teams in really good position right now. kind of playing that waiting game. Someone needs to start a channel just to force something to happen. Ming's gonna go ahead and step up to it. Now Johanna's gonna walk forward with the camp. Here's the Skeletal Mages out of Zul, and Dahaka's gonna look for a tongue there. There are a bunch of members are grouped here. There's gonna be a mosh pit, but it's gonna be shoved and interrupted. Light Bomb's already out as well. Hyperion's chasing down the members of Roll1 as sOaK LaNe is stepping forward. Gravity Lapse there onto the ETC. He's down to about half health here. Here's gonna be a root onto sOaK, and now here's gonna be another Pyroblast onto the front line there. As now the W quest is finished up there by Hanzo. ETC is still alive. He actually still has quite a bit of health for someone who just ate a Pyroblast, but the curse is going to go ahead and be picked up by sOaK LaNe in the meantime. It's going to mean both teams are going to have to disengage. Med on the Dahaka already back in the top lane. As now it's going to be a 4v4 here in the bot lane as Zul's trying to defend mid. Johanna, they are being caught out, but it's a living bomb there onto the Hanzo that seems to be the main issue right now. And now both teams looking to disengage. Zul's going to come in from the flank potentially here. They do have the vision advantage. Johanna's going to eat the root, but does she have the unstoppable? She's not going to use it, even if she does. There's the power slide, but there's not quite enough follow-up. There's the unstoppable. And ECC is going to get pulled out there with about 175 health. Meanwhile, B-Med on the Dahaka is rotating down to the mid lane against the Zul here. As the tongue is going to miss and the root's going to be barreled against. Now both teams still here defending everywhere they can, and this is when the Q build out of, or the Q talent at forward would have been big for Hanzo. He would have been able to clear that a lot faster. Instead, Zul was going to have to help him out. In the bot lane, meanwhile, we're just kind of chilling. The curse is about to time out. sOaK LaNe is going to go for their boss here. While Roll1 tries to catch up on sOaK, I imagine they'll go for a bruiser camp. I don't envision them going to defend this. As Roll1 is going to look to pick up their siege camp while the boss is being done by sOaK LaNe.
It looks like Roll1Esports is having a really hard time engaging because sOaK immediately shuts down anybody that's coming in, and they are really coordinated in terms of preventing the mosh coming in here as well. So
Roll1 going to go ahead and pick up their bruiser camp now, knowing that the bottom boss does have to travel quite a bit. And it's going to be 13s now picked up for them. Giddy up there on Raynor. Like check there. Fleet of Foot picked up on Hanzo. Whenever he lands a Q, he's going to get a little bit of extra movement speed up to stacking up to 30. Now it's going to be ETC's turn to be caught out. He's going to be deleted once again, kind of like we saw Nubrak done last game with that Blessed Shield into the Silence combo. Here's coming Hyperion for the extra siege damage, but it does mean Raynor can't really step up and auto attack things down until that time's out, because the hour aggro will go on him as we see right now. Zul down here trying to defend as well. Johanna is actually eating the tower a little bit, and there's the Skeletal Mages from Zul to help zone out sOaK LaNe. Dahaka meanwhile was in the mid lane, and they're almost level 13, and they have a 2-level advantage. What does Roll1 have to do right now to try to come back?
They really need to watch their position, and then maybe need to coordinate the engage a little bit more, because it seems like before anything happens, the tank takes a lot of damage. I'm really liking actually that they picked Anduin as the first pick, because they were able to use that leap of faith to save ETC a few times, but it's not going to be up all the time.
The Zul trying to... What do you think of the Zul pick so far? Do you feel like he's contributed a whole lot to this game, or do you think they would have done more with a different pick there?
It's hard to tell, because he did get picked off, and right now that's going to happen again.
But Roll1 is a lot closer this time, so they are going to come up behind him. All he has to do is survive a little bit longer. Here's going to be the Hanzo arrow. There's going to be a 4-man mosh pit coming out, and they're unable to interrupt it. And now Kilthos, and now 2 more. KT's 2 coming out dead, and it looks like this gank is going to turn around. That's the counter gank out of Roll1 that's going to be the big difference here. As sOaK LaNe is now down to just their beefy front line, but Roll1 has all 5. The vision arrow from Hanzo is going to scout them out there, and it looks like this is going to be the second tribute picked up for Roll1. Afterwards, I'd love to see them go pick up their own boss before sOaK LaNe has a chance to pick it off once again.
I take that back. I think that was a bait. And Roll1Esports executed that very well. That 4-man mosh was very deadly, along with the light bomb.
I think the biggest part about that was not only were they baiting it with the Zul, potentially on purpose, but they're also down 16, so you're not expecting them to look for that kind of fight. You're looking for them to be soaking and countering. Now they're going to go ahead and pick up the boss. Is going to let Zul go ahead. They could push with 4 members and just let Zul deal with the mid-bruiser camp, but it looks like they're going to go ahead and spread back out here, try to get as much soak as they can here. And sOaK LaNe. Prog Rock now finished, so that's going to help ETC stay alive a little bit, but also he's going to be able to help keep up anyone else he happens to be standing around, as Roll1's going to look to pick up their siege camp now as well as the next tribute spawning. This one is a very neutral spawn point for the tribute, so it might be a little interesting, as it's kind of just the tanks here sticking out alone. We do have Weaken out of Zul, which I do think is a very strong and important talent for him. And I think this game could now start to turn around, as the 16 power spike does seem like it might be stronger for the side of Roll1.
Again, Bimedu is at the top, but he does have the global to join the fight anytime that they choose to engage.
Hanzo's trying to channel already, as the root's going to go out and stop Johanna, who is going to go ahead and interrupt here. There's the mosh pit going to be soft interrupted, but the light bomb going out as well. B-Man's now going to go ahead and dig down, but there's the skeletal mages. Roll1 needs to back up here and position back up. The only ult they have left is the dragon arrow out of the Hanzo. There's going to be a root into Johanna, but she once again gets unstoppable. Now here's the mosh pit, and now it's going to be interrupted pretty quickly there by the Dahak, who's now also going to go ahead and tongue. The shove from sOaK is going to go ahead and miss, and Wipeout's down to about 69 health. He's going to end up falling down to the Anduin. Now sOaK LaNe is once again on the back foot trying to run away. It's 3 more members. They're going to go ahead and chase them down here on the side of Roll1. Now the curse is out as well, so they're going to be able to chase even farther. Gravity Lapse is going to miss onto the Zul, as the W's from Hanzo are continuing to land. Now they're able to push forward. They do have a siege camp as well. This is starting to look very bad for the side of sOaK, as they burn the sidewall here first so that Rock can get into the enemy team already. They are under curse. There's no tower here to save them. There's going to be the root there onto the Raynor. He's not going to have any kind of cleanse to save him. The double living bomb coming out of Kael'thas is trying to burn them off. Here comes the Pyroblast there onto Bigbeard, but Zul's going to be able to survive that just fine. They need to finish down this fort and potentially look for the core here. They are going to start taking keep damage as well here to the top siege camp. They also need to they need to get some kind of siege damage going here. They're not going to go for core. They need to get at least the other 2 forts here out of Roll1. sOaK's still trying to chase them down here. Bigbeard's looking in trouble, but they're kind of splitting them off. Now the boss is respawning here in the bot lane. Mid fort is down, but the siege camp is actually on the enemy core here. And now the curse is timing out, and they do need to defend top as well, as that siege camp does counteract the curse pretty well on its own. Zad there on the Hanzo is going to look to pick up the bruiser camp as well. Zul's going to go ahead and rotate top, deal with that, but they lost half a keep during their own curse here on the side of Roll1. And the boss in the bot lane is being picked up by sOaK, which may turn this map back around.
Yeah, I kind of wish that Roll1Esports backed out right after the keep, and then went maybe a little bit more for the mid keep as well, or at least the wall. But they did not lose anybody, which is a good thing for them.
Bottom bus picked up here by sOaK LaNe as we're continuing the race to 20. sOaK LaNe is about half a level out, where the Zul sOaKing may be able to catch up that top lane sOaK a little bit. As he looks to finish off the 3rd keep, he's going to go ahead and back now. Play safe to make sure he doesn't get cut out once again, as well as the fact that he needs to be there. As 4 members of sOaK LaNe roll up to the bot lane. Roll1, seeing that sOaK is showing up here because they retake the vision here as well, and now it's a 5v4 down here. The bushes are close. They are pinging for that bush right now. Dahaka's still defending though. They know that. He's showing them the minimap. As the 620 talents are picked up here for sOaK LaNe, as the bottom keep now falls, that evening out that lane there for both teams. Roll1 stepping forward, but the Lane Being's going to eat the root from the boss. They're going to go ahead and heal that up and look for the siege camp here.
And they are going to
sOaK LaNe here as the Pyroblast is going to come out, but he's going to be just fine. There's going to be the Hanzo there, arrow, and so is the light bulb, but it's not going to land in time. Kael'thas is going to, or Anduin's going to go down to the Kael'thas. Now it's going to be the Bigbeard there on the Zul, who's going to be in trouble, but he's just standing there with his W and kind of chew them away. He's actually going to be just fine. Poe there looking for pickups potentially with the Ming. There's going to be the ATC Mosh that's going to be quickly interrupted. Bigbeard's still standing in the middle of them. He's trying to heal up with his W as Hanzo's going to fall now. And now it's going to be, who's going to be, there's going to be the level 20 indestructible out Johanna popping as finally Zul goes down. Level 20 Deathmatch picked up there, and now they're looking to pick him off with the Ming here. If he dies, there's going to be the Deathmatch, but the Ming unfortunately is going to die before he has a chance to follow up. That's a 2-man Deathmatch, but it's 22 seconds until Anduin's the only member alive for Roll1, let alone before that. They don't have Raynor, which is unfortunately a lot of their siege damage, but do you think this is game going over to sOaK LaNe?
I think this might be game. I mean, sOaK has a lot of damage in that melee. And most of the members are going to be down to from 20 to 40 seconds, so we'll see what they can do here.
Anduin now alive, but it hasn't yet to step out. Alright, now Anduin's gonna come in, they're gonna throw out that W, but there's not a whole lot Anduin can do. There's gonna be the light bomb, but the shove as well, but the light bomb onto 2, but is it gonna be enough? The answer seems to be no, as it looks like sOaK every lane is gonna take this series 2-0. That's unfortunate, because that was such a close back and forth there for a little while. Roll1 looked like they were gonna be able to pull it back out. 9 kills to 7, low death game overall, but most of those deaths were like just big team fights.
They did have long team fights, and then it kind of went in the favor of sOaK every lane most of the time. And it usually started with just picking one off and then one team backing off.
Alright, we will have an interview here. We're going to go ahead and move down to another lobby here and pick up a member of sOaK every lane for a post-game interview. So we're waiting for a member of sOaK every lane to show up. If you have any questions you would like to shout out to sOaK every lane and have us ask for you, you can go ahead and put them in Twitch chat, as well as I'm going to be posting a link, and that link is going to be to a survey that you can fill out. It's basically a caster review form that you can fill out that allows me and patients to get some feedback from you, as well as NGS as a whole, about what it is you're looking for from casters. Hello.
Looks like it's
Hello. Yes.
I feel like I know you guys.
Yeah. We have Wipeout himself joining, which I'm sure is going to make Mega Muffin very happy, as well as the man who was banned out 6 different times this series, I believe. B-Men.
Yeah.
So, how you guys feeling right now?
Pretty exciting. I think today the games were not boring. I think we went in. I kind of promised myself that we are not going to just stall it out and wait for the 25 level spike.
Yeah, I've heard that's something that's been sOaK's playstyle so far this season. Let's go back to game 1. We were on Battlefield of Eternity. Were you expecting the pure, heavy-handed, bloodless draft to come out of Roll1?
We considered it.
Yeah, we knew that Rhaegar is just such a prime pick, but we kind of wanted to take it ourselves, so we just took the risk. And as soon as we saw it, we were like, all right. And then I proceeded to feed over and over and over.
With the reinforced Johanna against nothing but auto attack. Mega
Yes.
Muffin actually does have a question for you about game 1, which is, Wipeout, how did you feel after every death on BOE?
I mean, I inted so hard.
He was very mad at us.
Yeah, it was.
We kept telling him, no, you dying is winning us these fights. One for, multiple people is not a bad trade.
Yeah, Waniba basically just spanked me pretty hard. It is what it is.
So, what else happened in the game? Let's see, we had the Thrall versus R10 offlane. How was that? We didn't get to see a whole lot of action off there, but it didn't seem like that was pretty standard stuff.
It felt pretty like a stalled lane. Like, he kept trying to go up and do the camp, but if I showed, he'd get back off. It was just like playing ring around the Rosie up there, and nothing special.
Nothing special. Did you were you scared that he may go into the new level 1 damage stacking quest, and that eventually maybe he was gonna be a threat to you, or did you just not even consider that?
I mean, if he did that, then he can't really burn Immortal, and it seemed like the whole comp was based around burning the Immortal really fast with, all the Greymane, Vala, Pim, and Stukov.
I mean,
Stukov,
with that much auto attack damage though, did you really need to have Artanas purely build for it though? But that's neither here nor there. Were you more surprised with the Purifier beam pickup than the not the blind?
I was actually surprised to see that. I don't know about the team. We saw it and we just accepted it was there, but I'm not used to.
Yeah, I sure enjoyed it having me chase me. Fun.
Yeah, it did seem like his target goal was the Stukov to try force him out of those silences.
Really mad at one of the fights because he mistimed his blink so that he used it right before the purifier beam went off.
Yeah, when he had like 25 health and then just deleted.
I was mad about that.
Yeah, so you guys win game 1. You're offered map pick for game 2. Kind of go through your thought process there, why we ended up at Cursed Hollow.
Because we knew that they were going to start banning all the heroes that BMET plays. Start with Samuro, TLV, and then we basically get a draft that we want.
I have a lot of options there.
Did you get the draft you wanted?
I think pretty close, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, it was very similar to game 1, and it worked, so we didn't really want to change it too much.
You banned out the Rhaegar in game 2. Was that because you just didn't want to deal with the same thing, or is that because the Rhaegar you felt like was a potential threat going forward if they went into the same kind of draft?
Because I didn't want to int again and again and again. I got cute in game 1 and thought some things would work, and it didn't. So yeah, I didn't want to deal with it.
7.
Rhaegar right now is just no. But Rhaegar right now is just busted, so...
The one thing... Alright, let's go back to game 1 for a second. You guys were in draft. You hadn't picked your healer yet. You're getting towards the end. Chat wants to know why you didn't pick Deckard Cain into basically an all-melee team.
We really considered it. It was between Deckard and Stukov. And I know that Strokes is just a star on Stukov. So... I just trusted him, and it actually worked out really well because a bunch of times we got a nice kill off of it, like the Anub pop as soon as he got a silence on him.
Also, if we had Deckard rather than Stukov, we would have had no Anubarak cocoon burn, and she was in cocoon a few times.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was between the two, and just decided on Stu. How'd you like me getting cute there, wrapping around underneath and thinking I'm going to get a nice kill on them, and then they smacked me?
Always fun to watch Wipeout feed.
Yeah.
Alright, back to game 2 now. Let's see, what else? Was there a point when Roll1 got that curse against you guys that you were maybe scared that maybe you were going to end up losing the game, or did you just completely keep your cool and just focus on the here and now?
That never really... I mean, they got the key, but I think McElroy is in a really good spot, and we hit 21st regardless, so then we had a chance to make a play, which we got a fight that we wanted, and yeah. Then it just went downhill from there.
Patience.
Or uphill.
Patience, do you have any questions for these guys?
It seems like both matches were really focused around BMET, both games. And based on what you played so far, it seems like you basically do not play like one hero or focus on playing one hero this season a lot. So I don't know if this is this is a question that you want to answer or not. Is target banning you gonna work this season at all?
That's for other teams to find out, and for me to prove it's not the case. But I hope it's not the case.
I mean, yeah, I enjoy the bans because it means that we can focus on a draft.
I think teams have realized that target banning me doesn't mean I can't play the game, but it means that they can decide how much fun they're allowed to have. Because the heroes they tend to ban out of my hero pool tend to be the heroes that dictate the flow of the game. In a sense, like if I'm on Vikings, then you have to there's it's not the same as playing against a regular soul. For instance, since I know that was called for and banned.
Alright, we have another question coming in from Twitch chat. Mega Muffin wants me to ask Wipeout when Wipeout will finally give him an autograph.
Anytime, I got any time. Just tell me where to send it. My question is, why would you want it? Scrub.
Is there any teams that that you guys are looking at going forward that you're concerned about, or you think will be a great, intense game that might be very close?
Oh,
Over,
looked at
over like everyone, like normal, obviously.
there's some really good teams, and there's Abba Murky Club, Arrogant Nephilim, and Coffee United Knights that are really really strong. So it'll be fun. I think Jägermeister's he's been playing HOTS for a while, and I think he's got a strong team. So it'll be interesting to play into them.
Very good. Any final questions from you, patients, before we start to wrap this up?
So Yonner's mentioned in the chat that Wipeout gonna be back-to-back Div B champion.
No, we are not here to take Div B. My question to you guys is, when are you guys going to start playing again?
I still play most
Put you on the
days.
spot. NGS.
Oh, NGS probably next season. I don't know yet. I'll probably be back in some player capacity next season. I took the season off to handle some personal life things. And just get caught back up in general, as well as work. It's just crazy. I don't know.
Looks like I'm gonna be in a game this Saturday, so I'm still a sub this season.
I'll
So
come cheer.
He's playing for Choking Hazard this Saturday at what time, patients? Like 8 o'clock.
I think it was 9. I think it was like 9 p.m. Eastern.
And there is a caster for that game, so I actually already have the NGS website open. Let me just pop over the calendar. So it's Choking Hazard versus Archon, Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Twitch.tv/EldaCuda. Sorry, I butchered your name too.
Virtuoso or Fizzed.
Yeah, so go ahead and on Saturday, make sure to tune into that. Both teams are 2 and 3 right now, map-wise. So that should be a very exciting series to watch. Wipeout and BMed, do you guys have any shout-outs you want to do as we start to wrap this up?
Shout-outs to Roll1Esports, because they're cool people. I probably expressed this to them before, but playing against them actually means a lot to me, because when I first joined NGS down in Div D, I actually looked up to their team a lot. I don't remember why. I just remember that I thought they were really cool. And so, yeah.
No, definitely shout-outs to Roll1. They're the team that I actually look forward to playing the most. They're always fun, and they helped us throughout last season, and they're really cool people. And shout-out to Lily, our #1 fan, always. The last season, this season, always. She's awesome. Hope she's doing well.
Yeah, she was in chat cheering for you.
I saw. And then, obviously, NGS and my team. I think Torge did an amazing job drafting today and kept, me in check for the most part.
Torge is the team mom.
Yeah. He looked over, or glossed over my feeding, so thanks. And the rest of the team did awesome.
Alright, Patient, do you have any shout-outs or plugs you want to do?
Well,
thanks to you guys, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for having me, and of course to NGS and both teams giving us a great series. And good luck for the rest of the season, both teams.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Thank you all for coming out and watching. This has been NGS Division B West, sOaK Every Lane versus Roll1Esports. Shout out to both teams, of course, for putting on quite the show. Once again, thank you, Patient, for joining me as my co-caster. Thank you, NGS, for putting it all together. And as always, we'll see you next time in the Nexus.